I never really felt like I fit in high school. It could have been that I had a bob haircut and bangs that made me look like Dora the Explorer. It could have been that my idea of vacations was to ask my mom to take me on road trips to presidential libraries. When I had my first breakup in high school, my ex posted the lyrics to Say Goodnight and Go by Imogen Heap. I posted Losing My Mind from Stephen Sondheim's 1971 musical Follies. And I loved theater, but I never got the big parts at school. I was always the woman who cut Fantine's hair in Les Mis, or I was backstage. And that put me into this comparison trap with all of the girls that got these ingenue leading roles. But it was my junior year, and I was going to the Ohio Thespian Conference at Northmont High School, and I had finally found my community. I had friends who, my friend Erin would impersonate Carol Channing, my friend Kat introduced me to Miyazaki films. So I had this community, and they were going to the hallmark production of this conference, which was the hosting school's production of Ragtime. Northmont's production of Ragtime, the musical, had an actual Model T on stage. There were multiple performances, and when all of my friends went to go see the production, my crush went to go see The Crucible. I went to go see The Crucible. The next year, our school, Princeton, did Ragtime as the spring musical. And I auditioned for and really wanted the part of the historic figure Emma Goldman. And for once, I got the part that I wanted. But there was a problem. I'm someone who, my friends say, if you pour hot soup in my lap, I would apologize. And this character, one of her first lines is, "The radical anarchist Emma Goldman fought against the ravages of American capitalism." And it was not my particular energy that I brought into the world. So I really had to study and understand this character and what she wanted and where she was coming from. And with the help of my mom and my friends, I was able to develop this idea of who this person was. But then I started thinking about the production that Northmont put on that I never saw and how great it was. And I had questions and this fixation on the person who played Emma Goldman in the Northmont production of Ragtime. How did she embody the character? She had did she have a different vocal range? I was sure she had to be at least 5'2". I couldn't get this idea of a person out of my mind. But my friends supported me throughout the rehearsal process. At one point, my friend Chris said that if I sang a profane lyric during rehearsal, that he would go dance to Soulja Boy in the rain. It was 2008. And I got through the performances. At one point, apparently my microphone went out, but because I was able to get the confidence and the power to be this character, my friends and family were still able to hear me. It was a wonderful experience, but it was also my senior year, which meant that once the production was over, once school was over, Erin went to Tennessee, Kat went to school in Toledo, and I lost my community of weirdos that I finally cultivated. So I went to my freshman year at Wright State, and the first night we go out to the quad, and there's a sculpture in the center of everything that's called Bart, or the big-ass red thing. Apparently the real name for it is Turning Points, which inspired one of my fellow students to ask if she could be the downward spiral. I was talking to an engineering student, and I still wasn't feeling like I had found that sense of community because it was my first day. He mentioned that he was in the pit of the Northmont production, and he pointed out this beautiful student across the quad and said, "Yeah, she was in the show. I think she played Emma Goldman." And I was like, Northmont Emma Goldman, and I did not speak to her, and I went the other direction. But the next night, I was walking around the dorm with my roommate Amy, and we went into a rec room where multiple students were sitting together and watching across the universe. I felt like I was intruding and wanted to excuse myself and leave, but we were invited into the room and got to talking. We went to walk to Waffle House afterward, and it was the beginning of the experience of building that college community. One of the people who was in the room was Northmont Emma Goldman, and I remember that on one of the first days that we were at the school, we went down into the tunnels that connect Wright State, and one of our mutual friends, Beth, started singing her audition song for the musical theater program, The Wizard and I. And it was no longer this moment where I was intimidated by Northmont Emma Goldman or Beth or anyone else, but we were able to forge this community together and understand that rather than deifying someone or putting yourself in comparison traps with them, just being able to connect with one another is the most important thing. And I'm really grateful that 18 years ago I got to meet Abby, who is here. And I'm really proud of the connections that I made at that time and continue to have today. Thank you.